From 93 till 3 years ago, they would have banked $2 billion. $2 billion.
Okay. We had quite a few questions on the same subject, and I'll ask them all quickly, but they're all the same thing. Bobby Baker asked, is it true that teachers, it's about teachers not being able to be fired easily. Is it true that teachers who have been convicted of crimes continue to receive salaries? Francine asks, there are teachers who have been accused of misconduct who are staying at home and not working, collecting all their benefits. If the allegations are proven true, do they repay their benefits that they receive?
Let me
just finish, because they're all kind of different but about the same thing. Gloria Tolles asks, what does anyone gain by keeping teachers that are no good on the payroll? And then Ethel asks, don't the teachers that are being terminated deserve it? If they're being fired, that means that they are not doing a good job. So why keep them? And please don't say that they have to provide for their families, because us taxpayers don't want to pay for their salaries if they're not doing a great job.
First off, it's urban myth that bad teachers can't be fired. Bad teachers can and are. It's urban myth that it takes hundreds of thousands of dollars. The reason it takes hundreds of thousands of dollars is because the district hires outside law firms. And that's where the money goes. If an administrator did their jobs, which is to support what happens in the classroom, and support teachers who are struggling, and give them guidance and assistance, and if they still couldn't make it, would write them up and go for dismissal, they could do that. Last year, the district said they had 130 people who were accused of serious crimes and were in teacher prison. Nonsense. There is case after case. I met a woman the other night, and I looked into this because I didn't just believe her. 2 students accused her of hitting them. 3 months later, after she had spent 3 months in teacher jail, they recanted. But she's still in teacher jail because the district won't let them back in. A teacher who was accused of having kiddie porn on his computer. They looked at his school computer. The police went to his home and looked at his computer. Nothing. And yet, he's still not back in the classroom. And yes, sometimes there are good teachers who are put upon by administrators who simply don't want to hear teachers talk up for education equity for their students. And that happens. And that for us is a serious issue when we begin to tackle the issue of seniority and tenure. A very serious issue. No teacher who does something wrong should be in the classroom. And why the district doesn't fire them is beyond me. We do not defend Mr. Rooney, who was a teacher and then an administrator, who was dating his student. We don't defend that. We absolutely refuse to defend that. We don't defend the teacher who was found on the beach with his 15-year-old student. Period. Those people should be fired on the spot. Now, the issue of being paid while you're on this forced leave, there's no question in our mind that of those 130 people that were in teacher jail last year, at least 2/3 of them were innocent. Do I want to say that innocent people who are, as I said, 2 students said they did something and they didn't? Do I want to say that they shouldn't get paid while a case goes through? Absolutely they should. But we should be quicker in looking at these situations. And if the police and the district attorney say somebody is innocent and they've done their investigation, then why is the district letting them back in the classroom? There was a teacher who's been in jail, teacher jail, for 3 weeks now. He was doing a lesson where he had permission of the parents to videotape it. He was standing next to a young lady, and she moved into his hand, and she walked out and accused him of child abuse, and he's in teacher jail. He's a great teacher who's going for national board certification. How do I know he was innocent? Because I looked at the video, frame by frame by frame, and clearly he did not hit the girl. She moved into his hand which was next to her face while he was making a point. And yet, this really good teacher is sitting in teacher jail. This is not all about what Beth Barrett writes, because let's not forget that reporters, if it isn't sexy or it doesn't involve blood in the streets, they're not about to tell a fair and balanced story. And right now, it's vogue to hit on teachers. It's vogue to say the problem with public education is those bad teachers. And if we could only get rid of them, then the world would be wonderful. Nonsense.
How many, how many teachers have been fired in the last 5 years without pay?
I don't have those statistics, because it's not just who's fired, it's who leaves. Because we have a process of counseling people out, and there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people who've left who've been counseled out.
Okay. Jack Harris asked, for years the union has controlled or attempted to control the school board. Why do you not see the union that's part of the problem?
Well, we don't control the school board. Another myth. We put money and campaign for people that we believe will be good for public education, and yes, will be good for teachers and teachers' interests. And we believe our interests are your interests. There's nobody that knows a student better than a teacher and a parent. And the idea that, given the opportunity, teachers and parents together wouldn't create the best education program for their kids is nonsense. And that's what we strive for in U.T.L.A. Give the power and the authority to teachers and parents and administrators to create education programs at schools, and we will create a world-class education. Give teachers the authority to hire teachers at schools, and you will never, ever have a bad teacher, because a teacher is a teacher's most severe critic. No fourth grade teacher wants to work with a third grade teacher who can't cut the mustard.
Right.
Give us the authority to do that. For years we've been blamed for everything, and yet we have no power. No power over budgets, no power of hiring, we have no power. But we're at fault. Come on, you guys know that that's nonsense. I can see the faces in the crowd. You know that.
Okay, so we've started with the easy questions.
I was waiting for the harder ones.
Sharon Landler asks, why does so much of the LAUSD budget go to charter schools with no accountability? Why is there no or very little protection for the teachers in charter schools?
Could we break out the wine? Because I'm going to take about an hour and a half to answer.
Oh, no, you're not.
All right. Look, I don't think it's any mystery that I am not fond of charter schools. Charter schools drain the general fund, that's where the money comes from. All the data that is coming out now nationwide is showing very clearly that charter schools are not doing any better than public schools. Hey, there's some great charter schools, but there are also plenty of great regular public schools. So the data is showing they're not doing any better, and the playing field is not level. Charter schools can kick kids out, and do. Charter schools can require parents to do extra work, and do, and we can't. And when a charter school kicks kids out after what's called norm day, they keep the money. The kid goes back to the regular public school, we don't get any of the money. Charter schools do not, and there's been 2 very serious investigations going on, and U.T.L.A. is considering legal action. The number and percentage of special ed kids is far lower in charter schools. The number of ELL, second language kids in charter schools, is much lower. So what I say is, let's level the playing field. If we really want and believe that competition is going to make public education better, then let's do it. Let's force charter schools to take only the kids in the communities that they set up in, with the same percentage of